Peter Pham is Vice President of the Atlantic Council and Directors of its Africa Center. He joins me to discuss the election and its fallout. Peter, welcome to the program.
Asieh, good to see you again.
Violence, low voter turnout. What do you make of it?
Well, in many respects, one can say that opposition leader Raila Odinga has succeeded. What he's succeeded in doing is casting a shadow of illegitimacy, a shadow of doubt on what would have probably been victory once again for incumbent President Kenyatta. These are two men who represent two families that have been rivals since the beginning. President Uhuru Kenyatta is the son of founding president, founding father Jomo Kenyatta. Raila Odinga is the son of the first vice president of Kenya. And these two families have been at it since day one.
So the fact that there was such a lower voter turnout, I believe it was 33% compared to almost 80% in August, is it because there were Raila Odinga supporters? Is it because they were afraid to vote? Was it simply apathy?
I think there are a combination of factors. Certainly, Raila Odinga's called upon his supporters, who represented in the first round of the election some 45% of the vote, to stay home. And in areas where they predominate, the western parts of Kenya, in fact, voting could not take place today. That depressed turnout. But also even areas where Kenyatta and his Jubilee coalition were strong, he was so certain to win, perhaps many of his voters figured he was going to win anyway. They didn't need to go out. So a combination of apathy and the boycott, and perhaps in some places, fear of being caught in the middle.
Do you think, in hindsight, Kenya's highest court should have nullified the election of the August vote? I mean, international observers, Peter said, it seemed to be fair and free.
Well, the Supreme Court, the Kenyan Supreme Court's ruling has mystified me, and I've been studying it now for almost 2 months. On one hand, they ruled that there were irregularities, and having had a lot of experience in African elections, no doubt if you look hard enough, you'll find a number of irregularities. That being said, however, it was very bizarre. They only annulled the presidential race and didn't even touch the Senate and National Assembly races, which were held at the same time, which was a very bizarre kind of splitting of the baby, so to speak. So to be quite honest, I never quite understood the ruling.
So I wasn't alone in thinking that was a little odd.
It's a little odd, and in fact, if Raila Odinga had participated and had won the rerun, it would have left him in a position where the Supreme Court ruling left the majority of both the Senate and the National Assembly in the hands of the other party.
So the big question, what are you going to be looking for in the coming days? Where do we go from this point? Is this country going to be plunged into turmoil and instability?
One certainly always keeps in mind the shadow of 2007, beginning of 2008, when the contested elections resulted in violence and left at least 1,300 people dead, and Kenya's biggest income earner, its tourism sector, prostrate for years. We certainly we hope that doesn't happen, but we have to be on the watch for that. I think we're going to look for several things. One is what sort of negotiations, what sort of outreach does the government and the opposition do to each other in these coming days? Secondly, how badly does the violence, does it spread? And thirdly, what does this do to the Kenyan economy? The last few years, Kenya's been one of the strongest growing economies in the region. Last year, well over 5%, and this year and next year projected to be 5.7, 5.8%. This is going to take a hit, certainly, if violence persists.
Peter Pham, thank you so much, sir. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.